Hi, welcome to VMworld. My name is Manisha Arora, and I am the market development person in the products group with Ravello system. What we want to share with you today is this cool new feature that we announced. We actually went beta with it about 4 months ago. We have seen tremendous response from the user community, and then we did a GA announcement for it a couple of weeks ago. Basically, this is a capability in Ravello platform to run ESXi host environments using our nested virtualization technology on top of public clouds like AWS and Google Cloud. Now, I think as most of you are aware that currently you cannot really run ESXi on top of AWS or Google Cloud, or for that matter, any public cloud, because none of these clouds expose the nested virtualization flag that you need to have to be able to run hypervisors. Well, we have implemented in software this capability in our hypervisor. And as a result of that, you can actually now build and run multi-host ESXi environments on top of public cloud. Now, why did we do that? One of the key reasons we started down this path was that we were hearing from our user community a lot of feedback about being able to leverage the public cloud to build infrastructure labs. And we started by supporting KVM about an year ago. And after that, we were being asked to also support the ability to run ESXi labs. There are a lot of VMware technology partners. There are a lot of VMware system integrators, consulting company, who want an easy way to provision multi-host ESXi lab environments that they can use on demand for testing, for building virtual labs for training, to build labs that their sales teams can use for sales demo environments, customer POCs, etc. The traditional way of doing this is to actually have it running on your laptop, but you only have a limited amount of resources, or you would have physical hardware on which you provision these labs, and then your team, who is mostly remote, is accessing those labs. But you always run into capacity constraints. You always run into the amount of time it takes to provision these labs. So by being able to build and run these labs on demand on top of public cloud gives you the ability to have these ESXi labs anywhere in the world, provision them with a single click, and customize it, and let your team build and run it, and shut it down once they are done. So let me actually show this to you, because I think a demo speaks more than simple words. So let me give you a quick walkthrough of how you can go about doing this and the various things that you can do with these ESXi lab environments running on top of public cloud. The way to consume or to start using this would be to actually go to ravellosystems.com. We offer our hypervisor platform or technology as software as a service. So think of us as a meta cloud on top of public cloud. We don't own any infrastructure. We don't own any data centers. We use the public cloud capacity, but we make the public cloud look like your data centers, and in some cases even like bare metal, so you can do cool things like run KVM, ESXi. So you actually create an account with Ravello by going to ravellosystems.com. After you've created an account, you can actually come in and start building your ESXi environment. What we have provided to you is you come in and actually say, I want to create a new lab environment. In Ravello terms, it's called create an application. You would come in here, and let me call it ESXi lab. Click on create. This will open an empty canvas area that you see here on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you see this list. And this is basically your own private library of virtual images. So one of the other things, this was what we actually launched our technology with, is we actually provided a platform for application development and IT teams to actually take their existing virtualized workloads, so your application environments that you have running on VMware in your data center, and basically take the OVF, VMX, VMDK files and recreate that entire environment using those same system images, same networking, IP definitions, and run them on top of public cloud. So you could use the public cloud very easily to create additional test environment, to build complex labs for network security appliances by running network security appliance images and all of that. And you get a clean layer to network, so you can do things like port mirroring, you can have multiple VLANs, and essentially all of those things that you cannot do on the networking layer on Amazon, you're actually able to do on top of us and still run your workload on top of Amazon and leverage the capacity and the price advantage of public cloud. So that was what we launched with about a year and a half ago. And then we also enabled the capability to run hypervisor, KVM, and ESXi. So what I'm showing you now is the process to actually build an ESXi lab environment. So as I said, you came in, you logged in, you started a new application or started creating a new environment. And then you would actually come in and search for an ESXi image in the library. So in your library, which is your VM library, we have provided an empty ESXi container VM for you. And you can essentially take this empty container image, upload your ESXi ISO. So you can see here, this is the one with ESXi already installed. Upload your ESXi VMware ISO and attach it to that empty VM and go about building your ESXi host the same way you build it in your data center. Once you build it, you actually publish it. You have the choice to publish it either on Amazon or Google on any of the regions. So let me show you an example of an ESXi lab that I already have running here. This is an 8 ESXi host cluster environment. So you can see these are 8 ESXi hosts. They are, you can change the vCPU, system properties, etc., attach different volumes, set up different NICs on each of the ESXi hosts. And you can see here, this entire environment or lab environment is actually running on Google Cloud in the US Central Zone. Then you can also mimic a shared storage. And in this case, we have done that by actually using an NFS appliance right here, right? So you have a shared storage scenario. You've got the vCenter 5.5 appliance that you just uploaded, and you're running it. And then I have a Windows box here as well, which is actually running the vCenter Windows client. So this is your vSphere 5.5 lab available for you, running on top of Google Cloud, that now you can actually build test APIs, test your automation script. You can, if you are a VMware technology partner, you've got products, security appliances that run on top of ESXi. Load those OVFs on top of these hosts and build your lab and use them for a couple of hours or however long you want to, and pay per hour based on the total resources that you're using, and then shut it down. So that's really the process of building your ESXi lab environment. One of the other cool things that you can do, and I referred to it earlier, is that you have the ability to do one-click provisioning of some very complex multi-host environment. Now imagine if you were to repeatedly build this environment in your lab for your team, how long it would take you. I mean, to build an environment like this on physical hardware in your lab, would take you a couple of days, if not weeks, to be able to do that. Well, here, you build it once in a matter of hours, and then you can save this entire environment as a blueprint. So you can see here, save as blueprint, and I'm going to call it MA blueprint here. obviously, the recommended way is to shut it down first, but let's go ahead and save it without shutting it down because it's going to take time. So the concept behind Blueprint in Ravello is that think of it as a template for this lab or a snapshot for this lab. But this snapshot not only stores the state of all the systems, but it also stores all the infrastructure definitions. So it stores all the networking, all of your IP configurations, everything. So in this case, as you can see, this is a pretty flat network, right? All your ESXi hosts are on the same subnet and all, but you can build fairly complex multiple subnets, VLAN, and have all of that. When you save it as a blueprint, you are saving this entire lab, all the system state, as well as all of the underlying infrastructure definition. So that once it is saved as a blueprint, and you want to now provision 10 copies of this lab environment, ESXi lab, let's say for sales demo purposes, or you're holding a you're holding a training class and you want to build virtual labs for your students, right? So create an environment once, save it as a blueprint, and then go to your library, go to blueprints, select that specific blueprint. This is the one that we just saved, right? And you can see it has pretty much, it's like a complete template of that entire lab environment ready. You would come in and say, create an instance from this, and I'm going to call it, this is for my student 1. Click on create, and publish it, which is basically you're saying, I'm ready to run it. And you can now see, well, this entire environment has so many resources. I want to now run this in Amazon Virginia. And this is how it will cost me to run this environment. $5 per hour to run this entire environment. And I'm going to click publish. And you will see that the state of these systems is now going to change. They'll actually all say they are being published or they are being run on Amazon Virginia right here. So you can, within a matter of few minutes, actually spin up 10 copies of 8 ESXi hosts, shared storage. It can have components like NSX, VRA, VRO. You can install, pretty much do anything that you can do in your physical lab on top of Ravello System Hypervisor and run these environments on the public cloud and really leverage the public cloud as bare metal for this very complex infrastructure lab. So that was a quick demo, and we really see the use for VMware technology partners to be able to use it for integration test environments, sales enablement, for virtual labs for training. We see VMware users using this for home lab. You are no longer constrained to having limited set of resources somewhere in your garage that you are working on to take your VMware certification. You can actually do things, pretty cool things here. In fact, we have AutoLab available, so you can use AutoLab to build your entire ESXi environment. It's available on our public repository of blueprints. Then we also see training providers and VMware administrators within enterprises to use this to build, again, upgrade testing environment to try out new VMware products. Horizon, NSX. We have people who have built vSAN with NSX. They're practicing vMotion and trying to see how that works, or testing automation scripts, etc. So there are multiple uses of it. Essentially, it opens up the entire pretty wide space for you in terms of leveraging the public cloud in ways that you couldn't imagine you could, and treating it as bare metal infrastructure, but still have the advantages of unlimited capacity, quick provisioning, and on-demand pricing. Thank you very much.